Welcome back, everybody, to the Doc of Detox live Q&A, viruses, 5G, and frequencies. My special guest today is Peter Webb. Peter has an adept connection with all things nature and frequency, okay? Peter is here today to answer all your questions about frequencies and structure. So understand, everybody, I've got my phone. So if you type underneath, okay, on Facebook, YouTube, Intercom, if you send your questions in, we're going to answer them, okay? Or Peter's going to answer them, and I'll be there to help if he can't answer it. How's that? Now, understand something, everyone. And I know I've said this before, but just for those people that are new, you need to get this, okay? Before you were infused, okay, into your physical body, okay, you were only spirit. You were only a light, not only, but you were a light energy frequency being, okay? So understand something, that even though you see the physical, okay, it's the invisible that's the most important. It's the frequencies that are the most important. Everything we eat, drink, and everything we eat and drink leaves the body. It's only the frequencies that stay behind. You know, those really expensive supplements or everything, whether it's alcohol or whether it's drugs, it's only the frequency that stays behind. All that physical leaves the body one way or the other. You either sweat it out, urinate it, you poop it out, but it comes out. So trust me. Okay. So now if everything is frequency, then understand something. This whole thing about 5G, this whole thing about EMF, negative frequencies like Wi-Fi, your cell phone, your iPad, okay, all your smart dishwashers and everything else like that, they're bombarding our cells. They're destructuring the fluid in the body, in the human body. They're destructuring it. So get it. They're creating negative blood, negative lymph. The water that comes in gets destructured. So understand that. So if that happens, we know that the cell is being destructured right down to the mitochondrial level. And understand something, you don't get sick unless your mitochondria get damaged. And what is it that actually takes all the information to your cells and then takes information away from your cells? What takes the nutrition into the cells and what takes the information away? But the fluids in your body. And if the fluids in your body are bombarded with negative frequencies, then guess what? They can't communicate properly. It's like talking with marbles in your mouth. Okay, so communication is the key. And when that communication is broken, and trust me, all of this science coming out about 5G and blue light and Wi-Fi and all the EMF that's coming off of everything, they already know this. But the thing is we're just buying into it. And it's all artificial intelligence, which I would like to say is making us making us stupid. And so ignorance is not what we need today. We need to wake up to the fact that we are light energy beings. And that's why we're here to talk today with Peter Webb. Peter?
Yes, let me just start off with showing you what a radionics machine looks like.
Well, first of all, can you explain what radionics is, though, Peter? Would you do that?
Well, radionics is frequency. It generates frequency, so it has these dials. So you set two dials to say
Can you lift it up just a little higher?
Okay.
There you go. Beautiful.
Okay. So if you tune these are called tuners, and this is a rub plate that you could get a galvanic stick when you hit the right frequency. So if you're dowsing for, say, iron, you set the dials, and that's in phase. But to remove the iron, you reverse the numbers, you reverse each one, and that is out of phase, and the frequencies will break it down or eliminate it. Now, one thing you said about it, if you put a shot of gin in here, it's you put stuff in and stand a glass of water on this plate, and you transfer the frequencies of the gin into the water. You can get drunk just as quick drinking that water as you will if you take the drink straight gin out of the bottle. So that's how we can transfer frequencies. These units are all DC current. They only pull 10 milliamps, which is hardly any energy at all. This one, it can potentize. So if you had a product in here, we'll say um, sugar-based, something, anything at all, and you put the other beaker in this one, and you tune it to the strength of, you want a homeopathic product, it'll generate that homeopathic product.
Well, Peter, that's exactly what we're dealing with, right? We're dealing with homeopathy. We're dealing with
Yeah,
frequencies, and
right.
everybody knows homeopathy. But now we're dealing with radionics, where we're not just putting frequencies into liquid. We're actually putting them into crystals, and we're putting them into other things. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
One of the questions was radionics first came out in the late 1800s. So it's been around for a long time. And it was developed in Europe, in England. And then it came, a gentleman called Galen Hieronymus, and he was in the U.S. Navy. He started manufacturing his own radionics machines, and pretty well all of them that are sold in North America are a clone. Different companies have made them. There has been Don Mattiotta, there was Hieronymus, and then there was Rogers and another company called Lightning. And then, of course, there's Kelly Instruments. They're all identical as far as the makeup of these units. They have tuning like you tune a radio, and that's basically what you're doing. You're tuning into a frequency, and then you can send it out in phase or out of phase. So, and this is what, when we send out, we'll say the carbon to put in the soil, it's in phase, and it actually attracts carbon into the soil. The same thing when we broadcast oxygen. One thing with radionics, it'll go through almost any, well, it won't go through aluminum. That's one of the problems with it. But it'll go through water. You can put oxygen, it'll go into the water pipes. It goes through walls. There's nothing stop it.
That's frequency, so it has a mind of its own. And if I could say something, and I really mean this in the best way, but understand something, everyone. It's the funniest thing. We did a couple of shows, Peter, and we had some people say, "Oh my God, that's voodoo." Well, understand something. Do you call EMF voodoo? Do you call 5G, 3G voodoo? Do you call being able to make a phone call in a New York second from here all the way to China? Boom, is that voodoo? So understand something. Just as we can do frequencies to make a call, frequencies to turn on the lights, we can also do frequencies to help to protect the human body all the way down to the cellular level, everyone. So there's nothing voodoo about this. This is actually science. And if you understood that you were a light energy being and that frequencies are the menu or the meal of the day, because it's all about frequencies. If you take a look at a donut and an apple, which one's got a higher frequency? Which one do you want to be? If you take a look at viruses, like let's take a look at the coronavirus situation right now. Viruses are dead. Viruses vibrate really low. That's why only the sick and the dying are actually getting knocked down by the virus, is because they have an environment that vibrates close to the same level as the virus. No virus is going to come into a human being, okay, and take a healthy human being down. Am I right or wrong, Peter?
You're absolutely right. Yep. And and our technology is that we are able to program the frequencies into the crystal, and we also, these are backed up constantly. We have a bank of machines that are feeding information to these wherever they are. And you could have one of these on the moon and it still get the signals. Radionics it's a frequency that goes great distances. We've used them for a number of different things, which surprise people, but we're talking about the people and animals and this kind of thing right now. So
we're talking about thinking outside the box. So
yeah, so
it's a very
yeah,
dangerous thing to come on my show if you're not going to think outside the box, because you might struggle a little bit. All right, Peter,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, we did some work with um, broadcasters that we developed, and we were able to take down hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean with them. And actually, we were hired to put. India had a drought, a multi-year drought, and we were hired to put the monsoon season back into India, and we did it in about 2 weeks. We had the monsoons coming back into India, so there is huge potential. And this product, it doesn't harm anything in nature. It works with nature, and that's how we all our work that we do, everything that if we were say to put in um, black seed oil, which is a super antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, which we put in these units. But if what we do, we test it. We have a person or a plant or an animal, and then we can check the vitality of that plant. And then when we broadcast that frequency to it, if it goes down, that product is cast out. We don't use it. We only use products that enhance the vitality of all life. My look at life is the tiniest microorganism is as important on this planet as I am, or the tallest tree on this planet is as important as I am. There is no, we are supposed to be the superior people, but believe me, I look at everything as equals, and it's actually it has a very calming effect because there are so many. Well, all the chemicals used today in agriculture are to control. If you look at man, he wants to control nature. And when you control nature, you've got to use chemicals and pesticides, insecticides, fungicides. And if they looked at nature and gave it what it wants, all those products would be unnecessary because nature responds to the right frequencies that's going to it, and that's all it. It's like the sun. We when we go outside and we sit in the sun and we feel those sun's rays coming into our body, it's doing a number of very important things through the skin changing the sun into vitamin D, and it does and it's just the way you feel. If you feel comfortable and positive, your vitality goes up. And this is the whole idea behind what we have, is to keep your body. Now, the funny thing, the Radionics Society has come up with frequencies for coronavirus, but they also put in the frequencies for the spirit. They want to heal the spirit as well as the body, and that's the first time I've ever seen that. So there are people that are beginning to understand the importance of who we are and
what we are.
as a being, what we are. Yeah, yeah.
1 second, Peter. Everybody, don't forget. We'll take your questions if you want to put them in on Facebook or on YouTube. All right. And I just had somebody come in and say, "Can we just show what we're talking about here today?" Which I'd like to, Peter, if that's okay. This is called a protector. Okay. You see, it's kind of an aqua blue green, and this is called a protector as well. And this one's kind of a purple. These things are gorgeous, by the way. It's nothing. I mean, think about it. Something beautiful in the home, and then it's beautifully protecting you. And the protectors will protect Peter 200 feet out from you, right? 200 feet up, 200 feet
right.
down,
Yeah.
and 200 feet this way, and 200 feet that way. So you've got a lot of protection. So you know they can do a house. And then this is called a bodyguard, everybody. And if you can see it, mine's purple, but they come in other colors. Where do I put those now? Okay. Anyways, And they also come in pink. They also come in red, and they also come in a dark blue. So they're called the protectors, and the protectors will protect 5 feet up from your head, 5 feet down from your feet, and then 5 feet out and all around. Okay, and we're talking about protecting you against any EMF. So that's a really big thing. And then the last thing we're talking about, so that everybody knows what we're talking about, so you don't have to guess. This is called a vitalizer. Everyone, see? All right. Now this vitalizer is something that you bury in the ground, and I'm going to have Peter, if you don't mind, Peter, before we go further, before we start talking about a lot of other things, can we please let's talk about the bodyguards first, which is this, and then talk about the protector, and then we'll talk about the revitalizer, so that when we're moving forward with everything, people aren't guessing, okay?
Okay, so let's start with the bodyguard. Actually, all these, while we're doing it, both products are programmed the same way. And we put in a lot of different frequencies, colloidal silver, organic iodine, rescue remedy, biophotons. Then we have a grounding technique. That's why everything goes into the ground, is to ground the AC current from our body. All these frequencies, they can accumulate in the body, and so this drains them down. And of course, to bring in the whole environment we're in, we also put the summer solstice sun in, the moon, the full moon, and the stars. And believe me, we've done work with lakes and sewage treatment ponds, but the moon has a profound effect on people. The microorganisms in the water we found when the full moon, 4 days before the full moon and 4 days after, they went into a feeding frenzy. And I used to fish in the ocean, and when you had a full moon, you could catch fish like crazy because they were actively feeding. And so the microorganisms in our body, they will go into that kind of a feeding to help to clean the body and heal the body. We're putting in oxygen, which is fundamental to the health of everything inside our body and outside, because of all the air pollution and frequencies, the oxygen on the planet is progressively getting lower. And we are going back now. This is done through computerized testing, and we're able to verify that we are putting 20 parts per million of oxygen into the ponds and lakes and water. So it's in the soil, in our bodies.
Okay,
as I said,
we're talking about are we talking about the bodyguards now?
Both the frequencies that are going into them.
All right.
Okay.
These are all the frequencies that are in the bodyguards and the protectors?
That's right. They're both the same frequencies.
All right.
So this is protecting you in the home. And when you leave the home and you go out in your car or a shopping mall or walk in the park, the bodyguard then continues that work with you. So you're constantly being protected and your health aided with your health. So that's why we're putting in all these frequencies like protein from lentils or peas, and pumpkin seed oil, which is a wonderful product. Actually, if anybody has prostate problems, pumpkin seed oil will rapidly shrink it down. It also acts as a help with the liver. And then we put in the Dinshore color chart. That's all the colors of the rainbow. And finally, we put in positive DC current and negative DC current. And that's the balance, because in nature, if you look at nature, there's lightning that comes from the clouds down to the earth, and that would be positive. And then there's lightning going back. If there's too much DC current in the soil, it'll go back to the clouds again. So it's constantly moving up and down. In nature, lightning is to balance the DC current of the soil. So by putting this in, if we put DC current into the revitalizer, like we do, it
Now, the
controls
revitalizer is what goes in the ground, everyone. There's that black
yeah,
box, right?
yeah,
And
but
go ahead, Peter.
yeah, but it also controls leaf eating insects. So you got to think, as a human being, then we need that DC current in our body, and that's really what keep the healthy bacteria throughout our body functioning. Um, you can look at your blood when you've got a bodyguard on and you take a live blood test through the dark field microscope. Your blood cells are absolutely perfect. They're perfectly round, and there is no clumping at all. And of course, they're still doing the positive and negative spin, so it's taking nutrients into the cell and waste away from the cell. And this is why you need this kind of system to remove a lot of the toxins from your body that normally would build up in your colon and other parts.
And if Peter, if I can interrupt for a second, and everyone, I need you to understand, we sell hundreds of these, sometimes in a week. And the reality is that you're going to see thyroid problems start to change, okay? And you're going to see your skin charts change. You know, your skin will look more radiant, and it'll start to really clear up. And you'll also feel this subtle calmness over yourself, and you'll find yourself not reacting exactly like you used to react to when, we run pain body programs. Every time that Martha will say this, I will do this. You'll start to see things start to settle and settle. Am I right, Peter? What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that actually, it's interesting because we had a lady that bought some of these pendants in a store, and about 6 months later, Nancy and myself walked in the store. She didn't recognize us because we looked so much younger. Another add-on with the bodyguard, it expands out your immune system. Is your aura, and if we got into this years ago.
Otherwise, it's your immune system. It expands your invisible energy grid, which is that vibration, or how people say Kirlian photography. Even if you did Kirlian photography, if you knew what that was, you would see that with your moods, you actually change different colors, right? So it's your vibration gets stronger or weaker. So this actually helps to make your grid stronger, right?
Yeah, it expands it so that things like viruses and bacteria come into that field, and they're basically destroyed before they can get into your physical body. And that's why people have far less colds. We have your brother took a picture of one of these with the Kirlian photography, and there is a double helix that runs right through, and the double helix is the same as it runs from the top of your head down your spine. It's the energy that flows up and down your spine. So, and it's doing that because there's a lot of heat go out of the top of the head of a human being, and that's why you wear a cap in the wintertime to keep the heat in. But the human body is very complex, but once you give it what it needs, and as far as calming people, I'm much the same way. I'm very controlled and calm. I don't get excited and like a lot of people today that are standing out waiting to get into a grocery store. They're a little edgy, and if they wore a pendant, they'd be calm and they wouldn't be exuding all this negative energy. Negative energy is not a good thing in your body, and that's why we are using this technology to help to get it out, to make your whole system more positive. And it's amazing how things go so much better when you're in a relaxed mode and a positive line of thought. So that's put in pretty much covering most of what these are, but they are unique. The glass is very high quality. It's bought in from Germany. Um, so it's the ideal means of holding all these frequencies. And the beauty of radionics is with links and okay.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so we are able to, when we build our facility, we put in 4 feet of silica sand, and we use that. We call it the vault. That's where we store a lot of our frequencies, so that when a certain frequency is needed, and for some unknown reason, the bodyguard or the protector, they go to that vault to get what you need to. Sometimes, we've had a number of people that have had kidney problems, and they've gone up, and so they don't have to worry about it. I had a young girl the other day that was on insulin, and when she wore the pendant, she reduced the amount of insulin that she was putting in her body. And then for some unknown reason, she didn't wear it, and then her insulin or the blood sugars went up again. So, and I've done the same thing with my blood pressure. It's absolutely normal now. For 30 years, I've been in blood pressure medication, but now I'm not. I don't need it. And the same as the blood sugar, it's been able to lessen the blood sugar.
So would you say? Would you say that the bodyguard? Okay, so this is the bodyguards. I was looking for everyone. So would you say that the bodyguards and the protectors, they have the same formulas of frequencies in both? So
that's right.
All right, very good. And I've got a couple of questions here from people. People are asking, where can you purchase? Just go to Doc of Detox, click on store, and then you can find the bodyguards and the protectors and even the revitalizer in there. Peter, somebody's asking online, they're asking, can you tell us more about the revitalizer and why you would put it into the ground and what it's got to do with that?
The revitalizer has a crystal battery. We build this thing ourselves. So we buy the crystals. They're the same crystals that were put on the outside of the Great Pyramids when they built them. And we have these 2 3/4-inch copper pipes going down through it. Now they're loaded with.
Let me show it to them again one more time in case those people. It's pretty heavy.
Pipes.
Yeah.
Filled with olive oil, and so the reason we put them in the ground and is if they're at the top is at ground level or can be slightly above or slightly below, because of the electrical current in the soil, and of course these geomagnetic lines. So it's pulling in electrical current from roughly 5,000 feet up, and putting the frequencies down in the ground at least 1,000 feet. So in the atmosphere, there's you've got oxygen and hydrogen and nitrogen. Now, nitrogen is something that plants need. But by pulling them all in, as putting them into carbon, now it's like a brown, in the first stage of carbon, it's a brown viscous liquid, and you can tell when this in the soil, you move the soil with your hands, and you've got this brown stain, and it's from all of the greenhouse gases the unit's pulling in. It's pulling in.
Okay, so can I say something, Peter? So it's pulling in the greenhouse gases and creating this brown liquid, right? And that's what enriches the soil to give us better crops. Or can you explain it more?
It's the glue that holds the soil together.
All right.
And it's what life, all the bacteria in plants, there's a big demand for carbon. And when you get that it strengthens the walls of the plant so it can stand wind and rain and all kinds of nasty weather more effectively without falling down.
So stronger plants, but you did say that it'll actually take the greenhouse gases that we want to get rid of, and it'll
Yeah,
convert it into something that's going to give us higher quality soil, higher quality crops, which means for ourselves and for the animals that are on a farm. And you said it would. One of these would actually work up to what, 5,000 acres? It'll take
5,000. Yeah,
5,000
yeah.
acres. And it'll also, you said it'll put oxygen into the air?
Yeah, the air will be around 25 parts per million of oxygen, sometimes up to 30. But it's also putting that oxygen down in the soil. So in normal agriculture, the oxygen is only in the top 11 or 12 inches. But then beyond that, you've got aerobic bacteria there, and then beyond that is anaerobic, which are fermenters. So by putting it down deeper, it enables all the life in the soil that work with the plants to go deeper, as well as the earthworms and all those things that can live much deeper in the soil.
So what it's doing is it's helping the healthy bugs and bringing down the negative bugs. Correct? Like in our colons. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. I mean,
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and am I right about this? You know, right now we know that like I think it's like 98% of the population. We're supposed to have 85% good bacteria and 15% bad bacteria, but it's exactly reversed. And that's why viruses knock the living crap out of us because we vibrate at that level. So would you say that the soil's kind of flip-flopped in the same way because of the way we've been doing agriculture?
Yes, the soil becomes aerobic, and of course, with conventional agriculture, you put nitrogen on the soil, and it breaks down organic matter, and that releases CO2 back into the atmosphere. With this technology, it's by putting the frequency of carbon in the soil, it's pulling all of the carbon from the atmosphere into the soil, and it's sequestering it there, and that works out about 20 tons an acre. So you can see one box is oh gosh, I can't do the math on it right now. Anyway, once you increase the carbon in the soil, it cools the soil, and it allows water to start wicking up instead of the soil drying out and the roots trying to get down to get to the water. It actually has the opposite effect. It starts wicking water up to keep the soil and the bacteria. Everything needs moisture. It doesn't matter whether it's a microbe, an earthworm, a human. We can't survive with. There's two things we can't survive without, and that is oxygen and water.
I've got a question for you that just came in. If you update or add new frequencies to the protector or the bodyguard or the revitalizers, do you update everybody around the world with their revitalizer or bodyguard or protector?
Yes, yeah. Every time we bring in a new frequency, it goes out to everything we've ever produced. So it goes to every bodyguard, every protector, every revitalizer, and every water unit that we make. These are big water units for agriculture. So and they're constantly, as the Earth is also changing in the frequency of the Earth is going up, and it's also happening on all of the other planets in the universe. It's not something, and actually, since all these factories have been shut down, the ozone layer is filling the hole in over the Antarctica. So Mother Nature is actually regenerating and healing her ozone layer. And of course, when you use the DC and plus and minus, it produces ozone, which is what we call plasma. So ozone is also another form of oxygen that
On a mission.
uh,
Oxygen on a mission.
yeah, it's a lot stronger than the natural oxygen. So ozone will get rid of a lot of bacterias, fungi, and anything in your home. And this is the other thing. These things are going to help to clean your home of molds and funguses. So
What are you talking about? These things? Are you talking about the protector and the bodyguard? Or are you talking about?
the protector and bodyguard. The protector in particular.
Yeah.
It's going to increase the oxygen, and of course we're putting in the plasma. Your whole house becomes
Healthier.
more healthier and cleaner, and the air is cleaner.
I got a question from Angelica, if that's okay. Could the type of necklace we pick up for our bodyguard, okay, like sterling silver or gold, interfere with its frequency or benefits? Beautiful design, by the way. Thank you, Peter. So she wants to know, does it matter? I've got a silver one on everyone. So, but go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. The only thing is sometimes cheaper chains will cause irritation. Some of them will even stain the skin. And I think it's the energy coming on, cleaning that chain when you first use it. But
the energy coming off the bodyguard is actually trying to clean the chain up. So otherwise, don't be so cheap. I'm kidding.
No.
So I got another question for you, Kim. So it is programmed. We're talking about the revitalizer now. So the revitalizer is programmed to the size of your acreage. No, it's not. Can you explain what it is and what it isn't? The revitalizer.
Well,
now, everybody, this is what we put under the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Radionics is from the beginning. They put a pledge in that you would not put it on anyone else's property without their permission. So when you put the revitalizer in and it connects with all the property you own. It has, this is a funny thing. Farmers, they know every inch of their land, and if they're putting it in, then they're thinking of the land. It'll just only go to the land that they own. It won't go anywhere else.
And it'll go up to 5,000 acres, correct?
Yeah, it'll go up to 5,000 acres, yeah.
All right. Yeah. I have another one here. We've got Jim from Iowa, and he says, I grow crops, and I've got pigs, cattle, and I've got chickens. What will it do for me if I were to get a revitalizer? And I have a 4,000 acre farm, so would I just need one?
Yes, you'd only need one, and usually we like to place them at the homestead where the main water, the well is, one of the wells, bury it beside the well, because these are not designed to have tractors or cattle or anything driving over them. They have to be put in a safe location. Now, we have poultry farms where the manure, it doesn't smell in the barn. There's no ammonia in the barn. And when it comes out, it's got a kind of a composty smell. So once it goes into the building where they store all the poultry manure, it composts very fast. And farmers have even taken tobacco stalks and put them on the bottom of that building before they put the manure in. And by the time they clean that manure out of that building, all that corn stalks are broken down into a black mulch. So, and this is all done through the bacteria. So, you got a healthy water, healthy gut on the animal. And of course, what we're seeing now more and more, and I used to have a pig farm. I had 650 sow farrow to finish, and we always had about 10,000 pigs around. And that was one of the reasons I got into this, because the manure was so strong. You could go to the bank and you could tell who was the dairy farmer, the poultry farmer, or the hog farmer by the smell they carried on their clothes. So, yeah. So that, you know, being able to take that ammonia, all those, actually the greenhouse gases, the ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, methane, all those things that are produced by manure are converted back into the carbon form and put back into the soil.
So that means that when you go to the bank, they wouldn't know if you were a dairy farmer or a hog farmer, right?
Well, yeah, they would have more of a problem trying to find out what you're doing. But anyway, we're talking now about the pigs. If you got oxygen, we actually, the water unit that we make, we have them in South Korea, and it's reduced the mortality on the hogs by 90%. This is from the people in South Korea that's using them. And so this kind, and they also reduce the days to market between 10 and 15 days. So that's substantial in amount of feed that these animals you're saving by using this technology. But when you get into the cropping, your crops are going to have a higher nutritional value. Like commonly around where we've got these boxes, the corn is running 75 to 78 pounds a bushel, which is very nutrient dense. And so when you're feeding it to the animals, they're getting more nutrients. But here is the thing. When we put in all these frequencies of these supplements, whether it's vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, it helps your animals to digest more efficiently, because normally the feed that we've used, and this is tied into human health too, the food we eat has not got the nutritional value it had in the 40s and 50s and maybe even into the 60s.
So how much? So how much? Let's just. I want to ask you a question. So, talking about crops, how much does it bring up for the nutritional value, and how much maybe you can grow extra? And then
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have farmers that verify they're getting a minimum of 40% heavier yield. We have people growing green peas that you normally get 2.5 ton. These guys getting 4 ton an acre. And the same as the soybeans and the corn, you have a better yield. So yeah, the other thing, we're trying to get a balance in the environment, and all these weeds that we see, what they're trying to do is balance the soil. So you'd have, we'll say, a mare's tail. It's trying to bring up silica. Dandelions are trying to bring up calcium. Every plant is trying to bring up a mineral that's deficient in the soil. That's Mother Nature trying to repair itself. But we go in and blast them with a chemical and kill them. So that's all not happening now. So with this, once you start balancing energy in the soil, then you have less weed problems as well. But the other thing, the oxygen in the soil loosens the soil, so it cuts your fuel costs down by probably 40% less fuel, because the soil is easier to work, it's more malleable. I hope that explains.
You did. I've got a question. I got another question that came in though. Could Peter make from Ron? Could Peter make a pendant with the 12 stones of Israel? Do you know what that is, Peter?
Yes, I do. And the stuff I've had to do to get this to where we are, like there was a city, Atlantis. We've heard about that. And one time, I was in my prayers every morning. I'm told things, and I had to get 12 stones that represented the 12 universes around our own. And I'm betting you that's the same frequencies as 12. So anyway, we went to Wisconsin, and the last day we were there, we looked on a map, and I located the spot where they were, and we went and we picked up these. They're about the size of tennis balls, and they were pure white, and they all had hieroglyphic writings on them, and they are part of this energy. Now, we had another sacred site which the county just obliterated, but I found an exact copy of the Rosetta Stone, the one that Napoleon had. Yeah, he had the other one. It's all now. It's in the Museum of London right now. But these kinds of sacred energies, we use that, a lot of them within what we're doing. So we also have the Ark of the Covenant and the golden menorah built into our energies.
Did you say the golden manure?
Yeah. Manure, menorah.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I guess I know where I am. I'm still back on the farm, buddy. Okay.
I know. Yeah.
I guess I'm full of manure. I got another question for you, though. Colette, do the recent bodyguard pendants have the frequency to protect against 5G? I bought mine back in December 2019. Will it help with that?
Yes, it will, because, again, we did all our research with animals, because I don't meet that many people. I usually working with farmers, and every time I'll tell you one thing that we just going on this 5G thing. We went on a road trip to see our customers, some of them, and the first one said all our calves are being born, and 3 days later they're dead. They're born weak. And then the next farm, it was the same story. So then I called a farmer in Wisconsin, and I said to him, how are your calves doing? Well, he said they kind of die at 2 or 3 days of age. And then another farmer that I know, he doesn't have any of our technology, but he was having the same problem. So I'm thinking the 5G is now affecting the unborn calf. Of course, it's going to do that because it's affecting the whole animal. So we had to come up with different ways of doing it. And we looked at an eggshell, how it protects the yolk and potentially the baby chick that's going to be inside of it. So we took those frequencies, and then we added mirrors to the outside of it, and then we put the colors of the rainbow inside, and that seems to have blocked it. Well, it did block the 5G, because one of the farms that was having these problems with bacteria, the bacteria in the gut was only 20%, so 80% of the food was going out of the cow undigested. So we put one of these right in the middle of the barn, which is it was a 300-foot long barn and about 80 feet wide. And almost immediately, everything, their vitality went up, their heart rate was very low. And that's the one thing. With 5G, it really affects the heart and the lungs. Even if you don't have the coronavirus, this is going to be working against your health. So when we did this, the cows immediately started utilizing all that food, and they put on body weight and condition. Now, as a human being, we're using these I find I don't get hungry like I used to, and consequently, I'm been able to lose weight. I've lost about 15 or 16 pounds in the last 3 months, and I'm not trying to diet. I'm just looking at what I eat. I don't need that big meal anymore, and I think once you start wearing the bodyguard, that's one of the things you'll probably have to start understanding, that you don't have to eat as much food as you have in the past. So you want to start looking at reducing. Yeah, I'm not telling you to become skinny or anything like that, but
oh gosh, no, we wouldn't want to become skinny. We'd stand out. There you go.
But anyway, you can manage your weight more effectively with the bodyguard than you can on your own.
So what it does,
Okay.
the bodyguard brings down the inflammation, everyone. And
Yeah.
by bringing down the inflammation, you don't need to make fat cells or retain the water. So we're always looking for harmony within the body. Veronica is asking, is there proof that I know you've kind of answered it, but I want to honor her with her question. Veronica says, is there proof that the crystals work?
Absolutely. We've done so much testing with them over the years. Since we've been making them, that we are absolutely confident. I get testimonials of people saying how great they are and how wonderful they feel. Yeah, I can measure. Well, we measure the cattle, the immune system, the oxygen in the bloodstream. We measure their hearts because when we first saw the downside of the 5G, this one farmer was having a lot of cows having heart attacks. In fact, I talked to a farmer this morning in Wisconsin, and he was walking through the barn, and he said, "Well, like a dead cow here, it looks like it's chewing on the steel." But I figured, well, that cow must have had a heart attack and died in its sleep. So, these are we refer to them as animals, but believe me, I'm referring to people as well, and even your pets. Your pets would be the same. They're basically the same. What do you call it? Danger from all these external frequencies. Actually, it's interesting.
If I can say something, Peter, about pets, that we actually have people buying the bodyguards for their
Yeah.
pets, for their dogs
Yeah.
and their cats. So,
Well, when we started working with the barn, where a cat laid, the cow would get sick and die. They like to lay on negative ley lines. So if you have a cat laying on your bed, you better watch out that you could, as a ley line or a grid line or something. And then dogs, they always lay on the positive places. I don't know why that is, but that was very, very, when I go into a barn, maybe 5 cats laying in a stall where a cow was, and you say to the farmer, well, how long did that die? Oh, a couple of weeks ago. The cats move right into that spot, and it's because it's not healthy for the animals. And this is what's happening with the earth. The earth is becoming progressively contaminated with all these
new
unhealthy
frequencies.
frequencies.
Yeah. Deborah asks, is one color more potent than the other with the bodyguard or protectors?
No, it's a matter of, believe it or not, women will go to the closet and they'll pick out a dress for the day, and that's the color that her body needs. But because we've got all these colors into it, it's more or less, if you're picking one, if you like green, you buy green. If you like blue, you buy blue. If you like cranberry or purple, they're the colors that you can get.
Well, because
So
the rainbow's already in there, right?
yeah.
Janice,
So it's just,
okay, go ahead.
Carry on.
No, Janice asks, when a person is within 5 feet of us and we're wearing our bodyguard, do they benefit too? And my little dog that sleeps next to me. Thank you, Peter.
Well, the little dog will certainly benefit, and yes, the people would, if you're in close proximity of someone, they would get a benefit from it. I'm just tell you one thing. When we started, I used dowsing rods, and I used to check the aura of a tree. And a tree, the aura should be out to the size of the branches. But it was never there, because the tree was not healthy because of the air it was breathing and the frequencies. But once we were making a soil mineral at the time, or even if you put the revitalizer or any of these near the tree, the whole aura of the tree would expand out. And again, the bugs leave that tree alone. And this is why when we grow stuff in the garden, um, you have potatoes, the Colorado beetle, it would just decimate potatoes. And these bugs, these sick plants give off a frequency, a frequency, and these insects immediately say, "Oh, there's food," so they come down and consume the sick plant. And but as soon as you balance the soil and put in the frequencies of what we do, there's no more insects. They just stay away. So in nature, wolves are killing the sick, weakest animals. The bugs are eating the weakest plants, and of course, maybe bacteria is attacking the weakest people. So there is this thing that we have to understand. Nature is, it shows you what's going on.
Thank you. Gary asks, my wife is going through menopause and is very moody a lot of the time. Oh, Gary, be nice to her. Would the pendant help to relax her hormones and her and calm her mood swings? Gary, Gary. Gary, 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 Gary. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it would certainly have because we know it's balancing the hormones in the body, and it would have a um, quietening effect on him, on his wife. I
Well,
mean,
maybe even on Gary.
we can't,
Maybe.
yeah, we can't guarantee we're going to be 100%, but it would certainly slowly and certainly get her body back into a rhythm where it should be.
Beautiful. Stacy, I am pregnant. Would it be good? Would it be a good idea to wear the crystal pendant? What effects would it have on my unborn child?
It would only benefit the unborn child because it, again, it's going to be healing the body and producing a comfort zone for the baby. It would be in a comfort zone. That's the easiest way I can say it. So, um, people worry, and of course, we see children that come from a worrying parent. They worry the same. It's passed down for generations. But no, um, it's going to have a positive effect on the child. There's no question.
Beautiful.
That's all I can put it.
Shane, if I wear the crystal pendant while flying, would it protect me, or would the height of the airplane affect the strength of the frequencies?
No, the pendant would work perfectly. We've had these. We had one lady took her bodyguards through the radar. They put the bodyguard through the radar 2 or 3 times to find out what it was, and it never affected them. We had one woman going through X-ray at the hospital. Phoned me, said, "Is it safe to, or should I wear my pendant?" I emailed them back, and she'd already gone through the X-ray, and it never bothered the pendant. So flying, you got to bear in mind that the frequencies that we're dealing with are 5,000 feet up in the air, and I know airplanes fly higher than that, but no, this would certainly, it wouldn't weaken it at all. It would work just as effectively, putting the oxygen right in your body.
Thank you. Deborah, would this remove pesticides from the ground so you could use the land for organic crops sooner?
Yes, it would. It would certainly enhance bacterial because there is such a thing that we use in radionics is called transmutation of elements, and that is basically what happens within the soil. There are elements that will transmutate. You can take silica, for argument's sake, and you can actually, what I was saying, where I'm going with this, poultry in France, they did tests and they were eating, they put limestone in for the shells, and then they took everything away, and there was pieces of shell on the ground or some kind of mineral, and these birds picked that mineral up, and through transmutation they converted them into shells for their eggs, There wasn't an egg that didn't have a full shell on it. So yeah, it's coming back. These pesticides, they would break down fairly quickly using the revitalizer. And I was at a farm last week, and he has had the revitalizer for about 5 years. And he's totally organic. He used no fertilizer, no chemicals. And when the combine came in to harvest his corn, the combine guy says, "You're organic, aren't you?" "Yeah." He said, "Well, you've got bigger crops than all the conventional farmers around here." So it gives you an idea of how quickly we can turn the soil around and get it producing a better crop and a healthier crop. Okay?
I've got another question that came in from Steve. I can answer it, and maybe you can help me out as well. Yes, Steve. There's a money back guarantee on the revitalizer and on the bodyguard and on the protector. We'll stand behind it. You try these things out, and you'll know it. Right? Is that right, Peter?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And Joyce says, so I have a greenhouse. Where would you place the revitalizer?
If it's on the soil, if it's if it's got a dirt floor and if it's concrete, you'd have to put it outside of the building. But if it's a dirt floor in the greenhouse, then you just dig a hole in the greenhouse and put it in under the racks where you grow the plants on, and that would be, you just put it in the ground halfway up the box or to the top of the box, and then it'll work.
Very good. Tomorrow, yeah, when we talk about the crystals, we're talking about the protector, and we're also talking about the bodyguard, just so you know, okay? All right? And then the revitalizer is the big black box. I'll lift it up again. They're just asking if they can see it. It's my workout. There it is. Okay, that's the revitalizer. And when I talk about the crystals, I'm talking about the protector and the bodyguard, okay? Because they're made out of crystal. All right, next. Let me see here. We did that. If I wear the crystal pendant, okay, we got that one. I know if you put the silver bullet on, okay, wait, no, that's, I know if you put the silver bullet on cement, it removes the frequencies. Everybody, silver bullet is our nano silver that people drink and they nebulize and they put it in their ears and other places. On the cement, it removes the frequencies. Well, it doesn't remove the frequencies. It starts to. It will degrade it. It's not like if you put our silver bullet on a cement floor, it'll just take it away right away. It's putting there and leaving it there, okay? Is there a substance that would do the same to the protector crystal? No, nothing's going to take the frequencies out of the crystal, right? There's no, you better not do this or you're going to end up with nothing, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
None of our products, anything will take the frequencies out, unless you go up beside a massive nuclear generator and stand it beside that. It may have a ill effect on them, but we don't know.
Okay. Kim, how long does it take the revitalizer to change the soil around? I understand it starts working as soon as installed, but is there a time frame to how long before seeing the full results? How long will it take to remove the chemicals from the soil?
It would start right away, but I would think you're looking at, if you're doing a transition to organic, you're going to be wanting probably 2 years to get it fully removed. I'm being overly protective on that. It may be less, but certainly I would say 2 years, and they should be taken care of. They may be gone within a very short time. This is the thing. We've never done really any looking at that, because all our farms we deal with are either black and white. They're chemical or they're organic. We've never had any of them transitioning from one to the other. But, you know, it shouldn't take long. Let's put it this way. Within the first year, there should be a significant improvement. Well, when you start getting the carbon back into the soil, everything starts improving. The soil, the bacteria in the soil starts regenerating. The earthworms start coming back. You know, I've been on organic farms where I've been at night, and the dew worms are coming up and they make an awful lot of noise. You wouldn't think earthworms would make noise, but when they get on the top, harvesting the dead debris and hauling it back down in the ground, and that's where it gets composted. So yeah, I would think within the end of the second year, you'd be able to qualify for organic.
Thank you, Peter.
But at the same time, I would start growing. If you're putting the revitalizer in, I would start using that first year to go. Now, here again, I got to tell you, plants are like drug addicts. If somebody's on drugs, you have to wean them off. Wean the soil. So we're weaning the soil off so that maybe, well, I know for a fact, you would have to use some fertilizer for the first year to get a healthy crop, a big crop. We made that mistake once where we tried to do it
cold turkey.
The first year, cold turkey, it didn't work so well. So we now recommend that you wean them off over a period of, say, 2 years before you can get it. You got to build up all the organic matter and bacteria and earthworms. All those community in the soil have to be start to regenerate and get healthy again. And then once that happens, it's easy to work.
All living things can become drug addicts, eh, Peter?
That's right. Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Sam, if I put the crystal on my desk in my office at work, would it protect other people in the office as well?
Is he talking about the protector?
Yeah, yes, he is, my friend. Protector.
Well, that would do the whole office.
Oh.
Yeah, do the whole office.
Good.
Yeah.
Jane, is it possible to have too many positive frequencies? Ooh, I don't know about that one. If you had a protector crystal in a small home or office, plus wearing the pendant, could it become overwhelming for your body? You know, can I answer this a little bit and then you tell me, you know what, I don't think it ever could, but you know, all these pleasant frequencies coming in might give you a little bit of a detox reaction. You're not going to have any Herxheimer or anything like that. But I think they'd be probably so nice that it would be so pleasant you would never know it, would you? I've never heard anybody out of the thousands of protectors and thousands of bodyguards we've sold. I've never had anybody say that. But what do you think?
No, I've never run into that either.
Yeah.
No. And yeah, because they're on the same frequency as the protector and the bodyguard, they're going to be working in harmony with each other. So there's not going to be any overloading of the body, because your skin is the biggest organ that you have, and there's a lot of pollutants in the air, and this definitely cleans the pores in your skin. Actually, today they've just realized that the coronavirus can be transmitted just by breath alone. It doesn't have to have a sneeze. Just by breathing it, you can pass it on. So, no, it's not going to be a rapid detox, but over a period of time, you will detox.
All right. Veronica, can you feel the effects of the bodyguard right away? What does it feel like and to your body? And is it unsafe for certain people or certain conditions to use? No, I think we answered that. No. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. No, it's pretty much safe it is safe for everyone to use, whether they've got a problem like cancer or diabetes or some of the other things that we have today. Because actually it's when it's working within the blood, it's actually detoxing the body by taking out the waste from the cells, and actually some people have said that the G5 frequencies is killing the cells in the body, and what with the coronavirus, you're just breathing out dead cells. I don't know if that's a fact, but with a bodyguard or the protector, there's none of that happened. We've never had a rapid detox where somebody has any discomfort, and we've certainly had a lot of people that have benefited right away from the first day they wear it. So,
Very good.
yeah.
Marion, she wants to know how much the bodyguard is. Marion, I'll have them type that in on Facebook because that came from Facebook. I know it sounds really crazy, but I don't have the exact price, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to be wrong, because I've been wrong before with this, and then oops. This is our last question. Janice, my neighbor proudly shared homegrown vegetables with me, but the garden plot is under a huge power line. Can I set the vegetables beside the home protector to clear them? Thank you.
Yes, I think that would work. That would definitely work. But the power lines, we've seen dogs that were in the country, and they were just big babies, and then they moved into the city, and the dog is under the power line. It becomes very aggressive and nasty and bite people. So, yeah, these fields coming off the power lines would definitely impede, because it's clockwise polarity. Again, it's going to be interfering with the uptake of certain minerals and nutrients into the vegetables. But the protector would certainly be of advantage to put where you're storing those vegetables. Store them that way. We've even had people put the protector in the refrigerator, and they've had to turn the cold down because it made it too cold. And I think maybe when you put more oxygen in, it does cool down. So that was just another observation I had to throw in there.
Beautiful. And also, you could just structure your water and make sure that you put your vegetables in structured water, because that's going to help as well, everyone. This will be our last question. Is it possible to make a bodyguard from an amber or any other crystal that have natural EMF protective features?
It's possible, but we've never, because those things are hard to find, amber. We've never had to deal with that, but I would still take the crystal glass is a more appropriate way of doing it. The amber is basically a sap that comes out of a plant, and sometimes there'll be a bug on the tree, and the sap hardens, and the amber is home, so you've got a bug inside of a pendant in a amulet or whatever the case it is. But no, again, we're looking at production, and we have to have something that's available and reliable, and that's the way we're doing it.
Beautiful. So, Peter, we're at the end. What would you like to leave everybody with?
I'd like to leave everybody with a healthy body, a big smile, and a positive outlook. How's that?
That's a beautiful thing. I want to thank you, Peter, for joining me today. As always, it's a pleasure. And thank you for making these amazing products. You know, I just have to say this, everyone. I was very skeptical when I first heard about Peter's technology. And then when we got together, we started talking. And I got to tell you that we don't have hundreds. We have thousands of people that are using this product today. And it's the most pleasant thing you'll ever put around your neck or in your home or in the ground. It truly is. It's so subtle, but it's so powerful, and I think it's just like love. You know, love is just a beautiful thing. This is a very high frequency product that is very gentle, and it makes changes in the body so beautifully and so subtle that you notice them, but you know what? There's no disruption. There's no chaos with it. Thank you, Peter, for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have the
Good
best.
night.
Have a beautiful night, my friend.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we will.
beautiful. Say hi to Nancy for me.
I will. Yeah, she probably hear you.
There you go. God,
Okay.
God bless, my friend.
God bless. Yeah, thanks.
And everybody, thank you for joining me. And raise your frequency. It's with a slight smile, connecting your breath, lion heart breathing, 6 seconds in, 7 seconds out. Don't forget when you go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and let's be really grateful for what we have. And just look in the mirror and look into your eyes, and then promise you're going to protect and respect yourself and love yourself today. And then, you know what? Get the whole family to do it. All right? Let's all raise our frequency so that this world changes. This world needs to change, okay? We've kind of, how can I say it? We kind of left it up to others, you know? When we finally realize that we need to protect, respect, and honor ourselves 100%, we need to fill up our own heart with love. No one else, okay? We need to care for ourselves and learn how to do that. We need to start making really high vibrational decisions. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And just so you know, tomorrow, which is Friday, April the 3rd, on Doc Talk, I've got Del Bigtree. So make sure you come with your questions. Even type them in right now underneath here, and we'll bounce them into tomorrow. Or you can be able to just send in your questions live. I'll be taking them live tomorrow. Don't miss this event. We're going to be answering everything about vaccinations. We'll be talking about EMF and what it's doing with the viruses, and we'll be talking about different theories of why this whole coronavirus has been blown out of proportion. All right, we're all locked inside our homes. Okay, we're in lockdown now, but we'll give you straight answers, and that's what we're going to do. Tomorrow is Friday, April the 3rd, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Do not miss the show. We'll be on Facebook, we'll be on YouTube, and docofdetoxshow.com. Saturday, I'll be doing my live Q&A where I'll be answering questions, nutritional, detox, emotional, doesn't matter what it is. And I'll be answering that on Saturday. And then I won't be having another Q&A on the Monday. It'll be a week from this coming Monday, okay? Because I'm doing some online training for practitioners all over the world, okay? And on Sunday, April the 5th, COVID-19 and other mysteries with Clive DeCaro at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. This gentleman, he's very wise. He deals with a lot of Tesla equipment. And nutritionally, he really knows how to bring his game on, okay? Wednesday, April the 8th, remove the splinters, okay? And watch the body heal. This gentleman, his name is Dr. Gerald Smith, and he is a biological dentist, but he is like beyond any dentist you've ever met before. And that'll be on 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget, if you want my 7 empowering steps, just email me at quickstart@docofdetox.com. And guess what? I'm going to give you my Braveheart free masterclass. I'm going to give you the A to Z Wellness Masterclass free too. And I'm going to give you 7 steps on how you can start really taking a look and creating the perfect day. When you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe below and make sure that you click on the bell to enable notifications so that you never miss a show. And just know that all our shows are time-stamped on YouTube, so you can find your questions easily every show. You can also get email notifications by going to www.docofdetoxshow.com and clicking on the schedule and entering your email at the bottom of the page. Also, if you wish to listen to the audio version of any of our shows, you can download them from iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. I want to leave something with everybody, and this is a kind of like a quote that I put together, and it's, I am love, I am healed. I am Braveheart. Today and every day, from the moment I rise until I gently close my eyes, I will trust. I will trust myself. I will love myself first and foremost before anyone else or anything else, so help me God. Because I am, I can, I'm healed. I'm Braveheart. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching the show, because without you, there would be no show. And you know what? This is my greatest honor, to bring people on my show and to bring information out there. It's like, you put the seed in and then you wait for the crop to come up. Well, guess what? I hope that I've made a difference in everybody's life. All right? So God bless, and thank you for joining me. And never forget, 3, 2, 1, you've got this. If you're looking for life-saving and life-changing information, well, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to click and subscribe. Stay connected.